Hello, everybody. My name is Sean, and I'm from HZad Education. And today, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome Mr. Marco Sander. Marco has a famous channel on YouTube. And if you just type Marco Sander on YouTube, you're going to see some of the best videos on YouTube. In fact, if you have been watching those videos about random acts of kindness or faith in humanity restored, those ones with millions of views, you're probably watching Marco's channel. So without further ado, let's welcome Marco to this interview that we're going to do today. Marco, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem. It's a pleasure. I've been watching your content for a long, long time. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Of course, I'm looking forward to answer some questions. Let's get into it.
Sounds good. So, I'm a firm believer in the law of attraction, positivity, good habits, and how they can change outcomes. But you, as a psychologist, I wanted to ask you some of these questions because you really know your stuff, as I've watched on your videos, and you really know about mind power. So I think the first thing I want to ask you is, when you wake up, what do you do? Do you have your own rituals or some activities that you do to keep positive?
Yeah, a classical question, right? The morning routine. How do you start the day? It sets the tone for how the day continues. I played a little bit around with that. At this point, I think it's rather simple and easy, but I really picked the most powerful things that work for me, right? For everybody, it's always different. But one of the keys is actually the time I wake up, to just make sure that I wake up the same time. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock from Monday to Saturday. Sunday, I don't have a timer, but usually it will be also then around that time. But your sleep cycle, you don't want to mess with that. If you wake up on the same time, your body knows when to sleep, when to be awake. You have an easier time to wake up and actually be in a positive state more easily. If you fluctuate the time, it's going to be hard to wake up, you snooze and everything. So that's the first thing. And the beautiful thing is, when I wake up, I have actually pretty much clarity, because the night before, right, the morning routine starts the night before. I prepare already stuff, like I plan my day, I clean stuff up. I'm pretty clear on what is going to happen. So I wake up, stuff is prepared. I just need to go to the bathroom, clean my face, drink some water, and then I meditate for 30 minutes these days. And that's maybe intimidating. It sounds maybe intimidating, like 30 minutes. And I've practiced this over multiple years. So I started with 5 minutes, 10 minutes, right now 30. Nobody needs to meditate 30 minutes, but like 5 or 10, I think that's powerful. I do this in the morning, just focusing on my breath. Afterwards, I quickly reset myself. Like, what is my intention for the day? What is my intention for these months? And then I get started with work. So that's pretty much it. I also get a breakfast in between. But that's pretty much my day. So it's simple. I'm just gonna make sure that I have clarity and peace of mind, right, in my life and within, right, by meditating, but also making sure that everything is prepared.
Very interesting. Some of the most successful people in the world do the same ritual you have, meditating in the morning. I know Hugh Jackman does it, and a lot of successful people do. Now, when you do meditate in the morning, is it for clarity? Like, do you focus on just clearing your mind, or you meditate with a certain goal in focus?
Yeah, there are different types of meditations. I also played around with that, also been to a couple of meditation retreats. What I usually do is that I just focus on my nose. So it's focused meditation. I just feel how the air is coming in my nose. And it's like a little bit cooler when I breathe in, a little warmer when I breathe out. And I just focus on that. And whenever like a thought is coming up, such as, oh, I still need to plan this for the day, or I want to move, or I feel an unease, I just accept that it's like fine that this is here, but I keep focusing on my nose and my breath. And I'm losing attention all the time, like after two breaths. At the moment though, when you realize, oh, I'm away, let's go back to the breathing. That's like going to the gym and lifting the weights. That's when you like retrain your mind. And after this half an hour, I'm usually just super calm, because I notice much easier if stress pops up, and I just don't react to that. So that's the key of meditation. You don't react so quickly anymore, and you can decide how you want to feel and what you want to do. That helps me to be more productive, right? Not to go on Facebook, YouTuber. So I accept it and I stay here, but also in conversations or in emotional situations. Yeah. So the focused meditation, that's what I do to clear my mind right now.
And that's so important nowadays when we have so many distractions. So I agree, focus meditation, it's really good for the mind.
It's the biggest thing. Yeah, I work with people a lot of like on habits, and basically the core thing is people are just too much distracted. They have too many goals, too many things on their table, like too messy, too much stimuli. Like break it down, be clear. That's
Right.
probably the key to already have an easy mind and to also pass all those like tests, right, that you're doing with your business, right, to help people to pass those English exams and stuff.
Yeah, focus is so important there. I agree. Perfect. So now speaking of mind and focus, a lot of the debate nowadays is on focusing on positivity. You have lots of videos on YouTube. And again, I'm going to put your link in my description. But if I were to ask you, how do you focus on positivity? How do you train your mind to do that? What would you say?
So first of all, I need to say that there's a lot of advice I feel like out there about toxic positivity of like, we got to look on the positive side, let's just do it. And there is negativity that's always there. And that's, I think, a healthy degree of positivity does not neglect the negativity. It just accepts that it's there. And you just ask yourself the question, does my thinking style right now serve me? It helps me to achieve my goal. And if you notice you like ruminate, you're not getting ahead, then it's probably not helpful. And to change that tangibly, usually I just sit down and I think about my negative thoughts, because people who think negatively often think that's very rational. But if you dig deeper, you actually notice it's not the most rational thing. Like if you think about driving a car and you just think about, well, so many people die this year, and that's just truthful. Well, that's right. But you neglect all the other truth of the people who go to a job interview, who meet their girlfriend and boyfriend, have a good time, go on a trip, and are safe, right? So question your negative belief set. And the question is also, in psychology, they call this reframing. In which frame do you put a truth? So if you, for example, have a job you have this exam, right? Like this English exam next week. You could say like, oh, like if I fail this, I mess up my life. Like this is the most important thing. Maybe I'm not ready for that. You could also frame it a bit different and be like, hey, like this is an opportunity and I can actually set my level up to the next level, like upgrade my life here. And this opens up so many more opportunities. And if it doesn't work, I'm sure there will be also a second exam I can go to. So let's maybe embrace this as a challenge, not just frame this only in this negative way. So it is thoughtful, it is deliberate. Steering your thoughts deliberately in a positive direction is hard work. I know you always have to like constantly think about your thoughts. Like, what am I thinking? Oh, wait, I'm again in the negative loop. Is this correct? What would be more helpful? Let's say thank you to those negative thoughts that you're here because you're trying to help me to pass my exam, right? You're just trying to tell me, hey, watch out, like it might be difficult. Let's use this information and let's do the things that are going to help me to pass, for example, the exam. Did this ask the question roughly? Such a big topic. You can talk about for 2 hours.
Vast topic. Yeah, no, but that's great, especially for my clients as well. This is, you're not teaching English, but you're doing everything that I do as a teacher. I tell them the same things about how you can focus on, the next exam and be positive. So definitely that helps. But then, nowadays, especially with the pandemic and people losing jobs and all these negative situations going on, one thing I tell people is not to turn on CNN or anything. But other than that, how do you really avoid negativity and worry? Do you just like focus on positive things, or is there something else?
I think that's a good point that you just said. I basically also don't watch the news, but somehow I always get the most important things. Like people talk about it, right? You always get it. I'm a big fan of this idea of changing your environment and changing your system. I talk a lot about changing habits. This is not only about behavior, but also thinking habits. And yes, we can talk about willpower and steering your thoughts in more fruitful directions. But what's much more helpful in the long run, and studies have also shown that you just surround yourself to an environment that is more positive. Like for me, the biggest game changer to think more positive is just surround myself with the right people. Right? Maybe you have like your core 5 friends, which are like a little more negative, and you talk to them, and subconsciously, though you think that this is somehow reality, and when you start moving on and spending more time with positive people, it's just broadening your horizon so much, and you're like, oh, I can do that. I can start a business. I can be happy. I can like do all those things and be motivating. So I suggest to actually be very careful with whom you spend time and what you consume also, right? Like watching news all day long, or what do you surround yourself with? And for me, for example, in the morning, it means to not surround myself with anybody, like just meditate, just be clear, just let my mind calm down and not let this monkey mind do the work.
Definitely. Yeah, it's very easy to get influenced by surroundings. So I definitely agree. Now, when we talk about positivity, a lot of times we're talking about the law of attraction. And again, there's a big debate about it. Is it real? Is it just something to soothe ourselves, think that it's real? What are your thoughts? I've seen some of your videos, but I wanted to ask you one-on-one. What do you think about the law of attraction?
It's a super interesting topic. I think, it's just an opinion. I think we have to put something in perspective on, because it sounds, or at the beginning, it's such an airy-fairy topic and such a, like, I believe into stuff. And I like coming more from the like scientific, rational belief set. And what's, for example, definitely true is if you do an EEG, that's like a brain scan, if you have this cap on, you, for example, can measure brain waves. And you can measure whether somebody's positive or negative or sleepy or wide awake. And you have maybe noticed this when somebody's coming into a room and you notice this like heaviness and tiredness, or you notice this positivity and this vibes. And usually similar things attract similar things, right? Check out your friends, like you're probably kind of like similar, you like-minded people. This is what also friendship is always based on. You play chess. Oh, I play chess too. Nice, cool. So I feel like there is some attraction going on, but also simply already on a scientific level. For example, another example, it's called selective perception. It's a psychological term. A simple example, let's say you want to buy a car and you think, oh, maybe I want to buy like a red Toyota or like an Audi A5. The next weeks you're going to drive with your car around and you're going to see so many of those cars and never seen those before, right? It's like, ooh, every like third person has this type of car. It feels like, because you see it all the time, because you have a goal, and now you selectively perceive the things that might be helpful to go towards that goal. And I think that's with the law of attraction often as well. Like if you have a goal, if we have this in mind and keep that in mind on a day-to-day basis, we go through life and talk to people like, oh, this guy also has a YouTube channel. Oh, this guy is doing something similar than me. I suddenly realized that because now I have my goals set up, and then it feels like the law of attraction kicks in, but you just like have your right perception right in the right direction. So I think there's a lot of going on there, maybe much more, who knows. What's definitely sure is that I feel like some people think the law of attraction is just something you got to believe, and then somebody knocks on the door and then it's gonna happen, and I pass my English exam if I'm just like think positively. And Jim Carrey once nicely said that, he said, believe in that, use the law of attraction, but you cannot just send away your wish and then go eat a sandwich. Like you gotta you gotta believe it, but you also gotta work on it, right? Work your vocabulary, your grammar, put in the effort. And if you have both of that together, I think it's super powerful, and we should not neglect that. Yeah. I do this myself every morning. That I actually like visualize, like what kind of person do I want to be? Like, oh, I want to be a loving and inspiring communicator. I want to be surrounded by loving people, run my own business successfully, being sporty and healthy, and being a curious learner. And I really feel into that because I want to embody this on a day-to-day basis. And that's basically the law of attraction in a sense. Yeah.
Very true. So Marco, were you always like that? Were you always that positive, or was there like a turning point in your life when you were like, let me change my mindset?
I'm not even sure whether I'm that positive. I'm just, I would say I'm just not extraordinarily negative. And I think I'm fine with negativity. I think I'm fine with seeing struggles, and I think I'm fine with also with seeing potential threat and stuff. Like I don't try to always go through life and go, life is positive and perfect. I'm okay with it. I think I'm really good at accepting challenging and negative emotions and just feeling like, oh, I feel stressed. Okay, the interview's coming up. I haven't done so many interviews so far, like maybe 3 before. This was like my 4th one. Still feel a little bit excited. That's okay. Let's just accept and let's just feel into that and allow that. And by doing that, you actually feel much more positive, funnily. But also, by accepting this, you're much more capable to perceive the wisdom of this emotion. Like if you feel stressed, this tells you something. If you feel some pressure about a specific situation or about the exam, English exam that is coming up, that tells you something. It tells you it's important, and it tells you also that you maybe feel like you don't have the capability to do it, so maybe you should learn a little more.
Yeah,
right. So
definitely.
I think acceptance is a big key, and I learned that definitely over a period of time, because when you come to this world, negativity is negative, positivity is positive, and you want to have more positivity. And understanding that, I think, makes it generally more positive, because even if something negative happens, you're more like above the things. Maybe also meditation helped me, like, oh, something negative is coming up, I feel it, but I know that I'm not the negativity. I just perceive a little bit of like stress or whatever. Interesting. Let's deal with that, but it's not so threatening suddenly anymore. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely does. That's amazing, because one of my questions was going to be how to deal with negativity. So you answered that very effectively, embrace it, and turn it into an opportunity. So that's great. Those are all the questions I had for you. And the reason I was really interested in doing this interview, I was telling my wife about this, is with COVID, we always tell people that, scientists and doctors have said this, so this is correct. But with everything else, with body language, with the mindset, we always say psychologists have said this, so this must be correct. So thank you for everything you mentioned today. This is something we can all learn from. And guys, if you want to check out Marco's content, he has some amazing content on mind power and positivity. You can learn lots from it: daily habits, how to make yourself better, and how to set goals. All of these things can be found on his channel. Link is in the description. You can also type Marco Sander on YouTube and find some of his amazing videos. So once again, Marco, thank you very much for doing this, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You're very welcome. Have a good one too. Bye-bye.
Take care.